Tatsuki Fujimoto is known for creating the extremely popular and currently airing and serializing series Chainsaw Man. But before that, and before his one-shots of Goodbye Eri and Look Back, he had his first series that was serialized from 2016 to 2018. The opening of the manga starts with a simple story of how a unique blessed being known as the Ice Witch used her powers to freeze the entire Earth, creating a new ice age where humans are forced to do terrible things to survive and tell themselves anything to justify their actions. Our protagonist Agni, who is blessed with the power of regeneration, loses the village that took him and his sister in by an undying flame at the hands of a man called Doma. Agni, his sister, and all the residents of the village are burned alive. That is, of course, except for Agni, who with his blessing is constantly ablaze, slowly mastering the pain through years of mental practice and sheer will. He sets out to find the man that did this and kill him. The story is set up like an epic, where a lot of the characters we meet along the way are all yearning for something in this world, a thing to keep them alive. As is read, the freezing masses yearn for fire. Please listen as I tell you a story about how this young man will change the icy world with his fire and the will to punch. The story will be called Fireman. Well, maybe that's too on the nose. Ooh, how about... Fire Punch is a lot of different kind of genres all mixed together. Some in small ways and some in larger ways. Agni, as he becomes known throughout the world trying to track down the man that wronged him, follows a very conventional anti-hero tale that I believe is trying to point toward the Western comic book heroes of the alternative genre. Characters like Spawn, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider. Oh, because the fire. Okay, that's cool, yep. These are characters who don't necessarily follow a moral code to a T. In some of their interpretations, they are placed in environments that make them less sympathetic to their opposing villains. But what Fire Punch does in a huge way is take the mentality of revenge and distill it down so much that you see the narrow mindset of seeking revenge and what it can not only cause to those around the character, but to their own mental state. Now, if you watch my videos, you're probably thinking,
Mugen, sounds like a revenge story about someone who slowly learns that revenge is not the answer. How original.
To a degree, yes, but also at the same time, no. Agni learns more about the conflicting wants and needs in his head as he grapples with his image as someone who inspires hope, but also his dying sister's wish to live, even though he is in so much pain and wants some form of release from it, besides just more death, hate, and more rage. Fujimoto uses the promise of the story to trick you into thinking the story is heading in a certain direction, using characters like Togata to frame the story you're watching into a very conventional plot you would see in a typical movie, which is ironic because she's literally trying to make a movie about Agni. But then upending all the promises and going in a perpendicular direction, especially when Agni asserts a sentient choice that does not necessarily collide with his motivation. Agni, from the very beginning of the manga, makes very specific direct choices of, I need to get revenge. But as he starts to see different sides to the world and his ability to change those, he makes a perpendicular decision, which still veers towards the same motivation and is consistent with his character, but at the same time pulls the rug out just a little bit so you don't feel like you always know what's gonna happen next. And to sum it up in terms of his character consistency, people are fucking complicated. Human beings, turns out, very complicated. You know, I mean, he is a guy on fire who literally can't wear any clothes to cover up his flaming wee-wee. I mean, what can you do? No clothes whatsoever. But even though Agni can't wear drip, you can. That's right. This video is actually sponsored by Fandomian. Guys, listen, Christmas is coming. Don't start thinking, oh, what do I get my friends? Oh, I haven't written a wish list yet. Solve both these early now at Fandomian with this slick anime and manga merch. There are weebs and then weebs with style. You want to be these guys. If you're a long-time sub, you probably love Berserk. And look here, for a very fresh white Griffith hoodie and a nice oversized jacket, if you're keen to get warm or just flex, there are heaps of other anime and manga merch. You just need to go and check it out. Plus, even better, use code Mugen at checkout and you'll get a nice cheeky little 10% off. That's it. That's right. That's so true. That's fandomion.com with code Mugen. Link is in the description. Thank you, Fandomion. And now that the bills are paid, let's get back to Agni. Agni makes decisions based on the people in his life who had an impact on him. But sometimes these people's values cause him to be unsure of his next choice or objective. When he thinks of his deceased sister Luna, who wanted to have a baby with him at the beginning of the story, which is really weird, don't know why I brought that up, he is compelled to seek revenge. And when thinking of the elder that raised him, he feels the need to save strangers. But this causes them to deify him. You can see that these two different sources of morality conflict with each other constantly. The story that the character Tagada is trying to tell through her film is a facade, just like the followers of Agni believing he is a god. And I mean literally in terms of deify. As Agni starts to show compassion, random strangers start to worship him as a god, seeing him as this being from the heavens, not just an average guy who just has this mutation. This idea of a story we tell to ourselves becomes prominent when we have expectations of the characters, but also the story at what we think is the truth. For a quick example, in the second volume, it is revealed through Tagada that she knows the real reason the earth is frozen. It isn't because of some ancient witch and a legend that was even told to us on the first page. It's actually because the Ice Age has just started to take the earth as a form of constant evolution. The only reason for this lie was to have an enemy that the villains of the first volume have, as a reason to steal, gain slaves, and have something to live, fight against. They even worship a leader that doesn't exist. In fact, the name of their god is an action hero from an old recovered DVD. Agni mistakes and wants to believe the lie that his sister Luna is still alive when he meets Judah, a girl who looks exactly like her. Many times, you as the reader will want to believe it is her. And trust me, you'll be surprised behind the truth of this apparent lie. Even the idea of blessings is called into question as to their origin. Also, I gotta mention, the action is fucking cool. The battles are just iconic and memorable action panel moments. I think some of those are Fujimoto's best work in terms of just portraying action. Not fluid, just simple, great action shots that you would see also in Chainsaw Man. Fujimoto also only upends these false stories, but plants new ones so that you have an idea of what truth to false stories are and why it is that they were created in the first place, especially the ones that you as the reader expect to come true and not expect to be untrue. You expect Agni to be the hero of the story, despite all he has been through and the pain suffered, but you will slowly find that these names we attribute to the characters do not describe them to be accurate or even true. Hero, villain, superhero, icon, man, woman, fire punch, god, witch. All words cover up a true character that cannot define themselves and has lost their own sense of identity, or are words used to describe one individual depending on your point of view. There's a panel where Agni is both worshipped by those he saved and feared by the enemies trying to kill him in the exact same location. At the beginning of the manga, Agni's curse, or blessing, oh, yep. Okay. Let's say his condition is portrayed to be this ray of burning hope for the people of this frozen world who can finally find strength. But you slowly realize not only Agni's enemies, but also innocents are those that get caught in the crossfire of his own making. Agni's undying flame does not extinguish until the object it is attached to either crumble to dust or dies. The followers who worship Agni want this flame to warm them and bring them hope. But just like how ice has enveloped the world, so too can Agni's flames. They can bring warmth, but too much of it can be destructive, if not seen for what it is: fire. Fire Punch is an allegory for stories, and even the ones that aren't true, because we want to believe the way in which we see them can be applied to real life. Entertaining, fulfilling, and simple. This manga made me feel like Fujimoto has earned a reputation in my eyes as a mangaka who can create unseen images with his unique art style, regardless if you like the messy alternative look or not. He has a passion for films, but also stories and why they capture us. He can take a concept you have expectations for and wow you with the turns and twists he takes to make sure you aren't sure where this is going, but you know you need to find out regardless. And that doesn't mean that he is tricking you for the sake of it. In fact, it's the opposite. He wants you to not believe and then believe again in the characters, the story, and their own contradictions. Fire Punch is a manga that I can't believe isn't being read more. And I don't want to reveal too much, as I really would urge you to go read it. If you're expecting Chainsaw Man, it's not that. It is something that can make you think, besides the art style, is this actually the same guy? And that is one of the best compliments I think I can give him. Thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate if you made it to the end of the video, and I would love it if you subscribed if you want more videos like this. But that's all from me. My name's Mugen. As always, have a good one.